Hello and welcome to my 7th sermon. It is June 2nd of 2019 and here I am back in my house, thank God, and I'm going to speak about nonviolence, which was actually the main sermon I had intended to do 4 weeks ago before I was the victim of a horrendous crime, which you will find more about later, and trumped up charges, which are headed for a jury trial. And nonviolence is extremely important and a fundamental teaching of the Christian Bible and of Jesus. Turn the other cheek. Without it, we would have a lot more wars, and with more of it, we would have a lot less conflicts, a lot less wars, and a lot less fights. Now, I have seen a lot of fights. I was recently in jail on trumped-up charges, and I saw 5 fights in one day. In one fight, this huge, muscular guy just punched this little, small guy and broke his jaw right in front of me. And I've been the victim of lots of fights as well. I was threatened repeatedly. I was in this little holding vehicle where the guy next to me said he was going to kill me because I'm a Christian. He said if I said one more Christian thing, he was going to kill me. And he had said, and I verified later, that he had strangled his mom and he had had 10 felonious assaults, and he was being released that day while I was still being held. Here's a quote from Hebrews chapter 12 verse 14. "Strive for peace with everyone and for the holiness without which no one will see the Lord." Now, it is imperative to stop fights and conflicts that if someone, say, is punched or attacked, don't punch back. That's what escalates a fight. The smartest thing is to try to run away. Then there's no more fight. But if you don't punch back, it does not escalate. And I have always believed in nonviolence. My greatest role models are Mohandas Gandhi, who has been beaten up many times and didn't resist, and of course was eventually assassinated, and Reverend Martin Luther King, who has also been assaulted, of course didn't fight back, and of course he also was assassinated, would have lived to be a much, much older person, probably would have been president. And another one of my greatest role models is Jesus. And I have been the victim of lots and lots of violence, but never have I attacked back, and never have I hurt anyone. Never have I been accused of hurting anyone. On April 16th of 2000, I was sitting peacefully in a demonstration of 20,000 people concerned about the environment and labor rights, and I got beaten up by police. They broke 3 of my ribs, almost killed me, all captured on video. But that police officer was never arrested. And on May 13th of 2003, I was knocked unconscious in Nelsonville, and again the assailant was never found, although they did put out a $2,000 Crime Stoppers reward for it. On March 27th, 2009, just 10 feet away from here, one of my former tenants knocked on the door, knocked me out with a baseball bat, and then put a brain implant into me, documented at brainimplant.info. And this is clearly a conspiracy with our government, and it's done by the Department of Homeland Security because I gave them a Freedom of Information Act request that would have revealed a lot of embarrassing searches and seizures they did illegally. And instead of revealing the information, they put a brain implant into me, and it's causing torture and terrorism. And it's an assault with a deadly weapon, as you can see, well documented at www.brainimplant.info. And on November 12th of 2017, you can see video at one of my websites, sacredspacechurch.net, of me being assaulted by Ryan Kaywood, a huge 250-pound muscular beast employee of AEP, and the sheriffs never arrested him. Instead, they've been trumping up charges against me, which I still face. And through these charges, my public defenders have requested, they've subpoenaed records from Orblenis to force them to admit to the x-rays I've already submitted into evidence in the past, as you can see at brainimplant.info. This is one of the biggest scandals on the planet. But still, everyone must remain nonviolent. It's very important if we are to survive as a culture. And even when horrendous things happen, like the bombing in Sri Lanka killed 359 Christians. I wouldn't do that. I'm sure you wouldn't do that. And just like most Muslims wouldn't go bombing Christians, we just need to cease and desist these fights, put a stop to them. Romans chapter 12 verses 17 to 21. Repay no one evil for evil, but give thought to do what is honorable in the sight of all. If possible, so far as it depends on you, live peaceably with all. Beloved, never avenge yourself, but leave it to the wrath of God. For it is written, vengeance is mine. I will repay, says the Lord. To the contrary, if your enemy is hungry, feed him. If he is thirsty, give him something to drink. With that mindset, we can easily turn enemies or perceived enemies into friends. And then we can all be friends instead of fighting each other. It's a much nicer way to live. And people need to also get involved and raise awareness to brain implants. I have started a new organization, which will probably be the main focus of my life until the government finally admits to this truth. And that is Citizens Concerned About Brain Implants. You can see at my Facebook page where I'm hoping people will join. And you don't have to support me as a person to join this. You just have to want the government to tell the truth. That's pretty basic and exactly what our country stands for. Matthew chapter 5 verse 38. But I say to you, do not resist the one who is evil, but if anyone slaps you on the right cheek, turn to him the other also. So we have got to force our government to admit about the assaults that they have done. The assault of brain implant is a torture, a terrorism that lasts forever, and is probably going to kill me of brain cancer. So everyone, please take the time, go to my website, brainimplant.info, go to my Facebook page, Citizens Concerned About Brain Implants, and call Congress 202-224-3121 and ask that they have a congressional investigation on brain implants. Have a great Sunday.